Om Shanti. Today in the Murli, Baba says that Baba is the ocean of knowledge, and the Baba says that the one Father is the ocean of knowledge, and only through knowledge there is salvation, which is the day. And then Baba also says in another part of the Murli that in the world people don't have the power of righteousness. This is why they have become unrighteous, unlawful, and insolvent. There is no purity, no peace, and no prosperity. And then I was just thinking about what is this knowledge and what is this power of righteousness. In Hindi, Murli, it is Dharam ki Shakti. So, souls don't have the Dharam ki Shakti or the power of righteousness, or they are very away from the truth or knowledge. And I was just wondering that how do I understand this lack of knowledge or this lack of the power of righteousness. So I will tell you one incident and perhaps that will help explain it. So there was this one woman who came to the center once, and she was a doctor, and she was one of the few women who became doctors in her time, in her city. And she was celebrated a lot for that. So the one who brought her to the center introduced her to me like that she's a very celebrated personality in the city she comes from, because she's one of the first. So I was also very happy to meet her, and then during the conversation, she told me a very strange thing. She said that, you know, sister, I'm not in favor of women working. So I said, and why would you say that? So she said that I have a daughter-in-law and she's working and she doesn't take any responsibility of the household. And in our times, it was not like that. We knew that as a woman, you have to take care of the house. And then when we were allowed to work, we were very happy and we happily performed both the roles. And then I asked her one simple question, and I said, what makes you think that if she was not working, she would take care of the household better? So what makes you think that your daughter-in-law would be a superwoman at home if she was out of job? So she said, I don't know if I get you properly. So I said, my simple question is, you put her out of job, okay? You take her out of job. You ask her not to continue with the job. It's a hypothetical scenario. If you do that, then what makes you think that she'll be a very good homemaker just from the day you take her out of job? So she said, no, I don't know whether that will be. So I said, then why do you think that the job is the problem? So the job is not the problem. Probably your daughter-in-law is not cut out to do this. She might not have the interest or the ability to do household work. But she might have the interest or the ability to do this. And why do you think that these two things are comparable? So it's not like because she's working, she's not taking care of the house, which again is a very subjective opinion. Yes, because you maybe she's also taking care of the house in her own way. She has her own method of thinking what is the right thing to do about the house, and maybe you are not appreciative about it. Or I don't know, I'm just talking hypothetically because of what you threw at me. So I'm just giving you some scenarios. So she said, then then what is the problem? You said the job is not the problem. Then what is the problem? So I said the problem is what Baba tells is the problem. So you see, when we listen to knowledge, Baba tells us the real problem. And what is the problem? The problem is we were all divine souls, high charged batteries, and then we have become discharged. Simple. Doesn't matter whether you, the soul, are in a male body or a female body, or you are in a high income group or low income group, you are just discharged. That's the problem. And the discharged soul needs charge. And if you don't understand the problem, you keep doing several things with the soul but not recharge it. That's it. That's what you do. So you think that the job is the problem, you put her out of job, and then she doesn't enjoy what she doesn't enjoyed earlier also, and then that's even a bigger problem. So I have seen many women who are asked to not continue with the job after marriage, and then I have not figured out that they have become great homemakers. And some can balance both of them, some cannot balance either of them, some can do one thing well, not the other thing, some cannot do either of them well. So it is all not about the context. So we in the body conscious world, we are used to talking in these terms. So there is a problem of gender, there is a problem of culture, there is a problem of occupation. But this is not the problem. The problem is spiritual depletion. And everybody is a soul. And I don't know whether you have realized what low battery can do to you. So so I remember this one person brought me what do you say, this hands-free earphones, and they work on Bluetooth connection, and then so I just opened them and tried to pair them with the phone and use them, and then they wouldn't get paired and they won't work. And then I told that person, I think this piece is not okay, or could you have it exchanged? And that person said, no, this is a very good company, the piece also was okay, I don't know what is the problem. So then somebody, there was this child who is in standard 8, little child, he told me, Didi, usko charge to karo, just charge those phones. And then so I said, no, but they should get paired, right? So they are not getting paired, so probably they are charged. So he said, just charge them na. So I just charged them, and then they worked well, they got paired, they are functioning properly, and then they looked like a very defective piece until they were charged. So that's the issue. So you are not functioning well as a mother, as an employee, as a brother, as a boss, as a any role, any relationship you put that person into, that soul is not able to carry out the work well, and that has got nothing to do with the gender or the age or it has got nothing to do with the context or the finances. No. So I will tell you of another incident, and there is this brother, and he suffers from really low self-esteem, really low self-esteem. And then if you consider the external statistics, they are all in place. That brother is good looking, intelligent, good grades, parents who are financially very well off, an apparently secure future in the face of other uncertainties. So everything on the external, you can just check the boxes and they are all checked. But then that brother is suffering from very low self-esteem, and he's on medication. And then you try to tell him that you are okay, so there is no problem, why are you overthinking, why are you stressed? And he doesn't get it. So it's not about checking the boxes, it's not about the external, whether you have something or not have something, or whether you are in a working context or you are not working, whether you are rich or poor or male or female. No, it's about the soul. And Baba says that when you don't know the truth, then you keep thinking that this particular problem is the reason, or this thing is the reason, and then you are trying to sort that out. So that lady there is trying to change the context of the daughter-in-law, but I don't know how much she would suffer if she would do that. Because until you know the truth, there is no salvation. You cannot build the road to happiness and peace. That's not going to happen, because you are diagnosing the problem wrong and you are trying to figure out a solution which is not the solution. And then Baba says that when you have the power of righteousness, so the soul has 7 qualities, and that is the dharana of the soul: the power of knowledge, power of purity, power of peace. Then Baba says only then can you operate, otherwise you become unrighteous, unlawful and insolvent. Now let me tell you one more incident. So there is this brother, and I know him for some time now, and he's not in Gyan, so he's a friend. And then there was this, I want to get married, I want to get married, and then he got married. And then ever since he got married, there was only this one thing, that I want to have a child soon because I married late. And then within a year he had a child, and after the child was born, after around 2.5 years, he started suspecting that the child has Down syndrome. And then after 3.5 years, it was established that yes, the child has Down syndrome. And then once he was talking to me over phone, and he said that I wish the child was dead, because he has this problem and I really don't know how to deal with this, and this is not what I wanted and hoped for. And he's not like his the other children in the society, and he's not able to keep up with anything, and people are all the time asking, how many months has it been, and why is he not talking, or why is he not running, by this time he should do this, by this time he should do that. So there is always this comparison, and when I take him down to play, then also there is this comparison. And I live in a society where all my colleagues are living, and they look at me with sympathy, and I really don't like this condition, and this is too much for me to bear. And although it might sound strange that a father said this, I have seen many parents who, when they lose hope, when they are disheartened, they talk like this. So don't be surprised. So, when you are in a particular condition, you don't know how you would deal with. So, talking about the idea of compassion and empathy is different, but being empathetic in a practical situation is a very different thing. And even if you judge somebody who is not empathetic, you must understand that not everybody has the power of compassion, irrespective of whether you put them in the position of a father or a mother or whatever you want them to put into. But that's not how it works. So when this person told me this, then I told that brother, you see, you are a father anyway, yes, and irrespective of the condition of your child, you cannot disown him, because the child is dependent on you for sustenance. So he said, no, I'm giving the sustenance, I'm feeding the food, I'm giving, I'm doing whatever I can, physically I'm providing. So I said, no, but as a parent, that's not your only job. You have to see parents. So even if a child is raised in an orphanage, he gets food, he gets clothes, doesn't he? But you still call him an orphan. Why? Because parents, the duty of parents is to also nurture the child with love, acceptance, and build the self-esteem of the child by looking at the child in a accepting and respectful manner. And if you cannot accept his condition and you have rejected him from inside, he will always feel rejected. And then he will not become an asset for you. He will become a bigger liability. Do you get it? So if you don't correct your attitude, you will be in greater trouble tomorrow. So you see that when you don't know the truth, and then I told him to undertake the course and understand that every person you see is basically a soul, and then that soul is with you because of some karmic connection. And then now let me tell you that karmic connection doesn't mean, so when earlier I came into Gyan, I used to think about karmic settlement as a bad thing. So when I came into Gyan, I used to think that, okay, this is my karmic settlement, that is my karmic settlement, and oh poor me, I have so many karmic settlements, and this is bad and that is bad, and I have 10,000 karmic settlements, and I must have done a lot of sin in my past births to have so many karmic settlements. But gradually, when I have practiced Gyan, I don't see karmic settlement as a bad thing. So when something comes up, you learn along with it. So it's a situation, and that which has come up is teaching you, and basically it is introducing you to your own weaknesses. And a karmic settlement is not outside. The child is not the karmic settlement. The weakness to not have empathy and compassion for the child is karmic settlement. And it is, so when you are just like in the mirror, the mirror is blank, but you see your own face in the mirror. And if you don't like the face, it's not about the mirror, it's about you. So this life and what we call life conditions is a mirror of our own state. Your own internal state is, your own internal stage of the soul is getting mirrored into your experience of life. And you are able to see, if you don't like the picture outside, that means there is some correction you need on the inside. And this is a very good thing, because everybody needs a mirror. You want a mirror, right? If you don't have a mirror, how will you correct yourself? So just because if there is no child who has a Down syndrome, doesn't mean we are very compassionate people. But if there is a child, you know that you have lack of compassion and you can build it. You have lack of spiritual drishti. Your vision is body conscious. If you understand that your vision has to be soul conscious, then as a soul you understand that every soul is a child of God and they are entitled to be on planet Earth and play their part, and you are nobody to reject anybody. And when you arrive at that that spiritual drishti, and you arrive at that compassion, and you arrive at that acceptance that you are Baba's child and you are entitled to be here, and so is that other soul. And then you understand that your duty is, your duty as a parent is not to just feed and clothe and other stuff. Your duty is to accept them as they are. And accept them as they are, and according to, also nurture them with your spiritual strength, which Baba talks about in the blessing today. So if you withdraw your love and attention and care and good wishes from the child, then how is the child going to develop into a respectful and accepted individual? So Baba says that you have become unrighteous, unlawful and insolvent because you have lost your power of truth. And the more you build that power of truth, see, you perceive as you are. So the more you start seeing yourself as a soul, irrespective of your context, as Baba's child, irrespective of your context, then you can see everybody as they are and have respect and acceptance for them. And that is what is righteous behavior, lawful behavior. Lawful doesn't mean according to the law of the land, but according to the law of spirituality. The law of spirituality says neglecting, rejecting, and attaching is a sin. Do not neglect, do not reject, do not attach. These are sins. Pap karam. So if something is good, even if your child is a great performer, good grades, good player, good dancer, whatever, don't attach. Don't attach. Be very objective and detached about it. That's God's creation playing its part. Why are you identifying with the child? Yes. When that child is not up to your expectations, don't reject. Work on your expectations. Work on your spiritual stage, which is the root of your expectations. And when, so Baba also says, don't neglect your duties as a soul. Yes, even if you don't, even if you neglect your duty as a parent of not providing well, it is not such a big sin. But if you neglect your duty as a soul of looking at that soul respectfully, lovefully, and providing them with regard and dignity and an environment where they feel accepted and revered, that is neglect. So Baba says, don't commit these sins. And Baba says that if you work against the law of the soul, the law of how the souls are designed to behave, then you will suffer. You will suffer. And then Baba says, and I tell you, this is not just about children who are born with something that you don't like, but even when children grow up, sometimes you don't like what they are growing up into. And there is this one brother, he told me that I loved my girl very dearly. My daughter, she was the apple of my eye, and I loved her like no father loves his daughter. I loved her more than any father on earth. And he gave such a monologue about loving his daughter. I said, then what happened next? So he said, and now I hate her like I hate nobody. So I said, why? So he said, because she is adopting Western culture and she's doing things which I don't support as a father, and she has no boundaries as a Hindu girl, and I don't like her ways of living, and I don't like her friends, and I don't like the activities she indulges into, and we have huge fights about it, and now she's into depression. So you see that even when we grow up, sometimes the other person withdraws their love. And I said, who do you think, even if you think it's a cultural problem, even if you think that she's going on the wrong path, who do you think will bring her out of it if you give up on her? So I said, no, but I don't know. When I don't like things, I just give up on them. So I said, see, you have to understand that it's not a cultural issue, it's a spiritual issue. That child of yours is looking for acceptance. Why this peer pressure? All this peer pressure is about acceptance and appreciation. Yes, and she's doing all this bizarre stuff because she needs acceptance and appreciation. And she's going into depression because she herself is also not okay with it. But she wants to belong to a group, and she's doing it blindly to belong to that group. And now when you give up on her, who is going to have faith in her? So then he said, I want her to come here. So I said, no, you come here. I told the father, you come here, take the course. He said, what good will it do? So I said, it will change your attitude. And when it changes your attitude, she will get healed. You are the father. If she feels you love her, she will get healed. I asked him, since what age did you start rejecting her? So he said, from the age of 13. So that's the time she started, answering back. She started being rude. She started questioning my relationship with my wife. She started asking many questions, and I started hating her. And it has come to this. So I said, no, you have to come to the class, and when you understand you are a soul and you start looking at her as a soul. So he said, I'm a very nice person, Didi. I have friends. The people I work with also tell me that I'm very nice. I'm loving, I'm generous, I'm kind-hearted. So I said, yes, you are that. But the only thing is you have withdrawn that in this case. Because in every case you are very objective. You are not attached. You're very objective. With your friends, you're objective. With your colleagues, with your clients, you're very objective. So you are a good person. That's why you're sitting here. No doubt about it. But you have lost that objectivity in this case. And when you listen to spirituality, it will develop your objectivity again. You will start looking at her like a soul, not as your daughter. So the whole problem is your daughter. So when you stop attaching and you start being objective about that soul, that this is a soul and this soul is behaving the way they are behaving because they are lost, and they cannot be given direction through words. They can be given direction through the vibration of acceptance and respect and knowledgeful environment that you create. So, and then he told me very interesting thing. He said, I'm very disciplined. If you ask me about being a good example, I'm a very good example. I get up at 5 in the morning. I go and take a walk or run in the park. I even cook food at home. It's not like I don't take the responsibilities of home. I'm very disciplined, very methodical. And still, when you say that when you are disciplined, then the other person learns from you. Why does my child not learn from me? So I told him that because your discipline is wagging a stick. Yes, just imagine Baba gave you a murli every day, and in the beginning he said you're good for nothing, now listen to me. Yes, even if he is the ocean of knowledge. Yes, you don't listen to him anymore. So, knowledgeful is not knowledgeful if it is not loveful. So, that's why Baba says, you have to be the ocean of all qualities. Even if you have discipline in your life, if you don't have love, if your vibration is that of, hatred or rejection or, grina, you don't like somebody, then that person cannot learn anything from you. And I have observed this in this path a lot, that you only learn from the one you love. You only learn from the one you love. You might have 10,000 people around you and they might be very good, but you cannot learn from them if there is no love. And if there is love, you will learn from the person who is miles apart from you. Even if they are not in and around you, you can't see them, still you love them. So Baba says you learn from the people you love, and if you don't have a loveful attitude, if you don't have that vibration of pure feelings, that vibration of love inside of you, then nobody can learn from you. We learn from Baba not just because he's the ocean of knowledge, But because he's the ocean of purity, he doesn't get attached. He doesn't get attached to you. He doesn't get attached to his effort. Baba doesn't say 10,000 murlis and what are you doing? Nothing you learned. He is not getting attached to his effort also. He is making so much effort every day and still he is not getting attached. He is not attached to us. He is not attached to his own karma. That's why he is pure, an ocean of purity, ocean of love, ocean of peace, ocean of power, combined with ocean of knowledge, makes you knowledgeful. So Baba says, when you understand the problem, so when you lose the power of truth, when you lose the power of purity, of spiritual love, when you don't understand what's going on, you conduct yourself unrighteously, unlawfully, according to spirituality. And then you become insolvent. In this case, the father has lost a good relationship. Insolvency is not only about money. We are losing health, we are losing good relationships, we are losing peace, and we are losing wealth. And this is how we are losing because we don't understand the truth and we are working against spiritual laws. And then in the Murli today, Baba says that if you want to be a deity, then you have to have unlimited disinterest. So unlimited disinterest means disinterest from or unlimited renunciation, Baba says, Behad ka tyag. So you must have unlimited renunciation. What is unlimited renunciation? Renunciation of the impure. So impure thought, impure words, impure behavior, impure food. And you have to first understand purity and impurity. Yes, so Baba teaches us what is pure food. And we also know what is pure food, don't you know? When there is a puja at home, when there is a fast, you very well know what is pure food. You know what is inedible at this time. So Baba says you have to renounce that which is impure if you want to go to that world of purity. And it is very logical, right? If you still have impure food habits, how can you go to Satyug? I will tell you one incident. So there is this small child and he had come from for Brahma Bhojan. And on that day, khichdi was prepared in Brahma Bhojan. And he couldn't gulp that khichdi, I saw him struggling like anything. He was right in front of my eyes and I saw him struggling with all his life to gulp that khichdi, but he couldn't. And then he said, and then I also tried to motivate him, you're the number one child of Baba, why can't you finish khichdi? But then he finally gave up. And then he came and asked, Didi, why don't we make pizza and pasta in Brahma Bhojan? So I said, no, we can't make pizza and pasta in Brahma Bhojan. You have to learn to eat khichdi. So he said, why? So I said, no, because we want you to do that which is difficult for you. So he said, but today I was 10% successful. So he said, I cannot see khichdi, I cannot hold khichdi, but today I could eat 2 to 3 spoons, which is a big deal. So small child, I am telling you this incident. So now Baba tells us that, if you don't have the sanskar, can you relish Satyug? No, you cannot relish Satyug. So why the other people relished the Brahma Bhojan was because they've created a sanskar of relishing pure food. Now Baba says, if you relish the impure, if your sanskar is that of relishing the impure, how will you go to Satyug? So you have to create a sanskar to renounce impurity, from your life, from your taste, from your sanskar, and that is an effort. And when you do that, you will be eligible for Satyug. And then Baba today says that donate. So Baba, two things Baba says: donate and cooperate. Donate to Agyani souls and cooperate with Jnani souls with your virtues and powers. Yes. So how do we cooperate with our virtues and powers? Now, let's say, let's take a very simple example. Let's say you don't have Swaman. Okay, that's a very big virtue to have. And somebody comes and speaks something to you which generally is considered insulting, and you feel insulted, then can you, after that feeling of being insulted, can you show that soul, give them good wishes or show them the path? You can't do anything for them. So when you have virtues, when you are in Swaman and they are giving you Apman, you can still give them Samman and teach them the value of Samman by staying in your virtue. So first thing is, you must have virtues and powers, and this is cooperation with virtues and powers. So if you don't have virtues and powers, then situations and behaviors will remove you from your seat. And then you cannot, until you are anchored in your virtues and powers, how can you help them? Okay, so donating something or cooperating with a virtue and power means you must have enough virtues and powers to not get affected by situations and behaviors. And then your virtues and powers will become a beacon of light for others. They will also learn humility. So if you don't feel humiliated, you can teach humility. But if you yourself feel humiliated, how will you teach humility? Can you? Somebody came, they were successful in making you feel humiliated. How do you teach them humility? But if you are not humiliated, they will learn from you. Yes, okay, Om Shanti.